Welcome, and today we're going to be reading Part 2, Story 9, The Marked Man, page 87. If you haven't seen the videos before, go and check those videos first, and then watch this one. Cain was terrified at what he had done. As he saw his brother's body collapse upon the ground, he wondered what had happened, for he had never seen a man die before. Then, as the awful truth dawned upon him that Abel was dead like that lamb on the altar which had been the cause of all the trouble, his anger turned to fear and remorse. He couldn't go back home, not now. He couldn't face father and mother, not after doing this dreadful thing. Nor could he face his brothers and sisters, for they would be angry with him and perhaps would want to kill him as he had killed Abel. He would have to run away as far as he could go and never come back. That is what sin does. It separates loved ones, wrecks happiness, drives peace from the mind and joy from the heart. As Cain fled from the scene, he heard God calling to him, "Where is Abel, thy brother?" "I know not," said Cain, as though he could deceive God. Then, insolently, "Am I my brother's keeper?" This is Abel that he killed, and that's Adam and Eve. "What hast thou done?" said God. "The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground." Of course God knew all the time what had happened. Nothing is hid from him. He had witnessed the dreadful deed. He had seen Abel's blood upon the ground, and it cried for justice. Indeed, in the silence and helplessness of death, Abel cried louder than if he had been alive that something be done about this great wrong. Cain had broken the sixth commandment of God's holy law, "Thou shalt not kill." But by his pride, his jealousy, his anger, his selfishness, his lying, he had broken all the other 9 as well. He had to be punished. But how? "And now art thou cursed from the earth," said God. "When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth," which means when they used to start plowing and things like that, taking care of the ground produces food. And this means that it shall not produce food for him any longer when he tries to make food out of the ground. And then here it says, "A fugitive and vagabond shalt thou be in the earth," means running away from people. In his mercy, God did not take Cain's life, but sent him away from his home and from all who had been so dear to him. Just as he had sent Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden when they had sinned against him, the lad was to be a fugitive, forever running for his life, a vagabond, a tramp, who never dared settle down. "My punishment is greater than I can bear," cried Cain as he realized what sin had cost him. "Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth, and it shall come to pass that every one that findeth me shall slay me," which means people will be after him to kill him. Poor Cain pictured himself as forever living in constant fear of his life, always fleeing farther and farther from the home to which he had never returned. He could never return. Out of pity for his youth, for this youth who had been so dear to him from babyhood, God set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding man should kill him. Just what this mark was, the Bible does not say. It may well have been a change in his face that sin, remorse, and worry always bring. Whatever it was, from this moment on, he was a different man, the first marked man in history. Marked not that he might be caught and punished, but marked by his punishment that he should be spared. Might be spared. The mark did something else. It reminded Cain, his wife, his children, and all who should ever meet him how awful are the results of sin. It was a warning to all never to follow that evil course which had brought so much sorrow upon himself and his loved ones. And Cain went out of the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden. Did you ever stop to think what that meant to Adam and Eve? In one brief day, they lost 2 sons. Abel was dead, and Cain, their firstborn, on whom they had depended so much, and on whom they had pinned their hopes for in the future, was an outcast, hurrying toward the unknown lands towards the east for fear of his life. What a dark day that must have been. Not since that awful night when they had taken their last look at Eden and seen the angel with the flaming sword barring their return, they had felt such utter loneliness and despair. Well, might they have wondered whether life was worth living and what was the use of hoping anymore? Yet hope came again to their poor, sad hearts, and as so often happens, it came from the form of a baby, for it was at this very time that Eve had another little boy. The Bible says, "And she bare a son, and called his name Seth, for God said she had appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew," which means whom Cain killed. So they started again, believing and hoping that this might be the baby through whom the promised seed would come. And this time, though they did not know it, they were right. And if you look in the Holy Bible, Genesis chapter 4, starting in verse number 9, that's where this reading is in the Holy Bible. So you can read that as well. And also look on my profile for the video for reading of the Holy Bible. Next time, look for story number 10, Adam's last birthday.